Hello everyone and welcome back to The Attic. A lot of you have commented on the length of my hair recently, and some of you have gone so far as to tweet that with my hair this long, I look like a less attractive Josh Myers. And to those people, I just want to say, Mom, when'd you get on Twitter? But rest assured, as soon as I can get a haircut, I will. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll let it keep growing and get a job as one of Trump's doctors. And speaking of Trump's doctors, they're bad. Because they either gave the president hydroxychloroquine or he's lying about taking it. And honestly, I'm not sure which is more psychotic. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. President Trump has overseen one of the worst cataclysms in American history, and part of the reason for that is he's less focused on prevention and more focused on pushing shortcuts and unproven miracle cures, which his own medical advisors have repeatedly pushed back on.
Deborah, have you ever heard of that, the heat and the light relative to certain viruses, yes, but relative to this virus?
Not as a treatment.
You take a solid flu vaccine, you don't think that would have an impact or much of an impact on corona?
No. Okay, but what if you take a battery, say, I don't know, a 6-volt, and you cover it with Pepto-Bismol, and maybe like put it under your pillow overnight? Would that work? Okay, shaking your head no on that one. What if instead of a battery it's Sudafed, and you bury it in your backyard and the first person who finds it is immune? Is that possible? Okay, you know what? I can't tell if you're shaking your head no or shaking your head yes. Which back and forth? Which one is it? You know what? I think, why don't we just offline this?
Because the modern conservative movement is largely a haven for hucksters and con artists, it makes sense that they fell for a guy who spent his whole career selling chintzy and in many cases fraudulent products. We all know about the steaks, the water, the wine, the ties, the magazine, the Trump Foundation, the Trump Institute, the Trump Network, Trump University, Trump Mortgage, Trump Dojo, Trump Airlines, the vodka, the deodorant. Yes, we made up Trump Dojo, but really, would it surprise you if we hadn't? Can't you just picture him in a karate uniform and black belt doing his own commercials in between traffic reports on the local news? Come on down to Trump Dojo. We'll teach you moves like judo, taekwondo, and my favorite, jujitsu me for unpaid bills. I mean, he's always doing those weird hand movements that look like some janky version of business karate. I'm blocking your question, and now I'm bouncing it back to you. And that's business hand karate. And the tapes, the how-to tapes can be yours for just $19.99. Even Trump's presidential campaign was a crappy, as seen on TV, scam product, as his lawyer Michael Cohen explained in congressional testimony last year.
Donald Trump is a man who ran for office to make his brand great, not to make our country great. He had no desire or intention to lead this nation, only to market himself and to build his wealth and power. Mr. Trump would often say, this campaign was going to be the greatest infomercial in political history.
Of course it was an infomercial. That's why his baggy suits look like slankets. He pumps his fist like he's holding 2 shake weights, and he sits like he's using a Thigh Master. The great thing about Invisible Thigh Master is it doesn't take up closet space. And it can be yours for $19.99. And Trump doesn't just treat his own campaign and presidency like an infomercial. He also surrounds himself with other infomercial salesmen like the MyPillow guy or con artists like his former acting attorney general Matthew Whitaker. Remember him? Who helped run a scam patent company accused of bilking investors out of millions and once marketed a so-called masculine toilet which boasted a specially designed bowl to help well-endowed men avoid unwanted contact with porcelain or water. The average male genitalia is between 5 and 6 inches, the firm's press release said. However, this invention is designed for those of us who measure longer than that. So you went through all the trouble of coming up with a scam product just so you could put out a press release making it sound like you got a big... Did you even sell any of these toilets, or did you just put the title in your Tinder bio? Also, give me a break. You're telling me your dong's so big, every time you squat down in a toilet, you're taking a tip dip in the tool pool? And yeah, I did just come up with the terms tip dip and tool pool. And I'm not saying they should start selling the masculine toilet again, but if they did, they could use both of those terms in their advertising for a very reasonable royalty. Anyway, the point is, Trump didn't come out of nowhere. Remember, this is a party that has elevated so-called prosperity gospel preachers, radio hosts who sell their audience vitamins and gold coins, and TV doctors like Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, who for some reason always glows like he just took a bath in a nuclear reactor. In fact, Trump himself once even had his own healthcare company called the Trump Network, which asserted that it could use a urine test to recommend customized nutritional supplements. It also offered products that purportedly tested for allergies and bone health, but scientists said such claims were never backed up by modern medicine. Oh, well, they weren't? So you're telling me if I mail my urine to the guy who told people they could cure coronavirus by mixing themselves a Clorox cocktail, he can't really improve my bone health? Knowing Trump, he wanted your urine for something else. That's probably why Trump vodka tasted like piss. Who cares what it tastes like? It's yours for $19.99. So, as shocking as it was, it only made sense that Trump would publicly announce to the world in the middle of a pandemic that ravaged the country, due in large part to his incompetence, that he was personally taking a potentially dangerous anti-malaria drug to prevent coronavirus that he's been hawking without proof for weeks.
A lot of good things have come out about the hydroxy. A lot of good things have come out. I happen to be taking it. I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine.
When?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, when,
A couple of weeks ago, I started taking it. Because I think it's good. I've heard a lot of good stories.
Can you explain, sir, though, what is the evidence that it has a preventative effect?
Here we go. You ready? Here's my evidence. I get a lot of positive calls about it.
You gotta be careful, man. People your age get a lot of scam calls. It wouldn't surprise me if we found out the White House had a reverse mortgage on it.
Don't worry, guys. Magnum told me this was above board.
Your evidence is that you hear good stories and get positive calls about it. We're talking about a potentially dangerous medication, not the new hibachi place in town.
I hear good thing. I love the little volcano they make with the onions, but be careful. One time I leaned over the grill too far. That's why I look like this.
Also, don't say, "Are you ready?" like you're about to blow everyone's mind, and then follow it up with, "I hear good stories." He's like a skateboarder who tells his bros to film this and then immediately lands nards first on a handrail. Bro, I'm posting this right now. Hashtag tip tip. Look, now that the term exists, we're gonna use it. I'm really having a hard time wrapping my head around this and how psychotic it is. I mean, look, Trump's gonna say and do crazy. He failed on the pandemic response, and unemployment is at its highest point in 100 years. So now he's spraying ink in the water so we can dart under a rock before the press can figure out what happened. We don't have to spend all day dissecting it, debating whether it's a chess move or a planned distraction. The guy doesn't play chess. He doesn't even know how to close an umbrella. Watching him play chess would be like asking your dog to change the channel on the remote control. Hey man, you watching the game? No, Animal Planet again. But what is important is that Trump, as the president, actually influences other people. Like the time he mused about disinfectants curing the virus, and people actually called their state and local governments to ask if it was okay to chug bleach.
We had hundreds of calls come into our emergency hotline at our health department asking if it was right to ingest Clorox or alcohol cleaning products, whether that was going to help them fight the virus. So we had to put out that warning to make sure that people were not doing something like that, which would kill people actually to do it.
The government actually had to tell people, don't listen to the president, ingesting bleach is bad. But I do like that people were considering drinking bleach, but also responsible enough to call and check first. Oh, so it burns? Ooh, really? That much? Well, good thing I called, and you have a nice day too. This is a medication that can have potentially deadly side effects. A small chloroquine study in Brazil was halted over the risk of fatal heart complications in patients. A French study found that hydroxychloroquine doesn't help patients with coronavirus, and a study found that the drug was linked to higher rates of death in coronavirus patients, and the side effects can potentially include agitation, insomnia, confusion, mania, hallucinations, paranoia, as well as lasting psychiatric and neurological symptoms. So either Trump's lying about taking it or he's been taking it for 73 years? Our baby's pretty colicky. Just give him a little hydroxychloroquine on his gums for the rest of his life. So that's on top of the hallucinations he already has. Is there a possible reverse effect where the hallucinations and paranoia cancel each other out and makes him normal? Is he going to show up to his next press conference in a plaid shirt and khakis?
Hello, everyone. My name's Don, and I just want to say the press is an invaluable part of our democracy. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go drink some water by bringing the glass up to my face with one hand like a normal person.
In fact, judging from this comment about the made-up scandal he calls Obamacare, it sounds like Trump might already be feeling some side effects.
Obama knew everything that was happening. I don't think Obama knows where he is in a lot of ways. I saw his statements the other day, and I think that, frankly, they weren't very good. That's President Obama.
Damn, are you swallowing the hydroxychloroquine or snorting it?
Come on, man. Let me get my drugs on. Daddy's got to ride the Quinn. Hail Hydra!
And then there's the fact that Trump's relentless hawking of this product has created shortages for people who need it. It's a life-saving drug for people with conditions like lupus, and they were already struggling to get hydroxychloroquine, due in part to the president hyping it up as a coronavirus treatment. Lupus patients reported having to ration their pills because of the hydroxychloroquine shortage, with one telling USA Today, "When I have that medicine, I can live life normally and don't have to think about it. Now I have to stop and think before I even pick up my toothbrush to brush my teeth." And that's horrifying, because if people get distracted before brushing, you'll have to deal with a second ailment known as Rudy's teeth. Rudy, oh my God, man, I've never said this to anyone, but maybe have your teeth removed? You might look better with just gum. Seriously, how are your top teeth and bottom teeth so different? Could you only afford half a box of Crest White Strips? Most public health experts have cautioned against the president's reckless touting of hydroxychloroquine, like ousted vaccine chief Rick Bright, who testified last week that he was punished in part for questioning Trump's advertising of the drug.
I believe part of the removal process for me was initiated because of a push back that I gave when they asked me to put in place an expanded access protocol that would make chloroquine more freely available to Americans that were not under the close supervision of a physician and may not even be confirmed to be infected with the coronavirus.
They wanted to give it to people who do not even have coronavirus. You know, when I heard that, I never thought that last group would include the President of the United States. They asked me to make chloroquine freely available to Americans that were not under the close supervision of a doctor, may not be infected with coronavirus, and whose symptoms include sitting on the edge of their seat like they're trying not to take a tip dip in the tool pool. But the hype got started with a small French study of just 20 patients, which medical experts have since called pathetic and a complete failure, and which the publisher itself has said didn't meet its standards. The study was co-authored by an eccentric French doctor named Didier Raoult. And before I show you his photo, here's a photo of Trump's former doctor, Harold Bornstein. Remember him? Now, I want you to imagine what Didier Raoult looks like. Are you ready? Okay, here he is. Mon Dieu! He's Harold Bornstein's French cousin. Hey, Didi, want to come over to the States, man? I got backstage passes to the Steely Dan concert. Harold, my American cousin. I wish I could, but I am busy attaching electrodes to a baguette to see if it would talk. Seriously, why do all of Trump's favorite doctors look like they found their medical degree in a porta potty at Woodstock? They look like they went into quarantine during the swine flu and just never came out. Hey, man, I think it's safe, man. Didier! Think it's safe. And just to give you an idea of how psychotic Trump's comment was, doctors and TV anchors had to urge viewers not to follow his lead. Even Fox News urged caution.
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this as a preventative treatment to ward off the virus, or in a worst case scenario, you are dealing with the virus, and you are in this vulnerable population, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you. It sounds like what you're saying, you have a risk of losing your life if you do what the president just recommended.
That's correct. Be very, very careful of what you put in your mouth and what you swallow, be it liquid or solid.
That's right. Thanks to the president, a doctor literally had to go on TV and tell people, be careful what you put in your mouth and what you swallow. Like he was talking to children playing with Matchbox cars. Donald, where's that toy car you were just playing with?
It went through a tunnel.
Of course, Fox News has been loyally parroting Trump's hydroxychloroquine talking points for weeks now, and the surprising show of dissent from Cavuto prompted a characteristically pissy tweet from Trump last night. Fox News is no longer the same. We miss the great Roger Ailes. You have more anti-Trump people by far than ever before looking for a new outlet. Ah, yes, the great Roger Ailes, the famous creep who oversaw a culture of paranoia and sexual harassment at Fox News that led to him getting fired by liberal snowflake, we see, Rupert Murdoch. The conservative movement elevated a huckster who spent his career pushing scam products and miracle cures to the presidency, and now he's doing the same thing with a pandemic that has ravaged the country and cratered the economy. Next time people think about voting for Trump, the media might want to warn them there's a chance
It will kill you.
This has been A Closer Look. During the COVID crisis, City Harvest has been stepping up to rescue and deliver more food to meet the increased need in New York City. If you're watching this online, you can hit the donate button. Stay safe, wash your hands. We love you.